The number of confirmed deaths has passed 200. The governor has called a state of emergency.
There are hundreds and hundreds of bodies.
Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Last of Us Survivor difficulty video walkthrough. This is Chapter 3, Billstown, and we're in the woods. So, straight off the bat there, I always think about shooting that animal. But I never have, and I believe you will be able to. In a game normally, you'd probably get an achievement for something like that, but the trophy list on this one is very strange. A lot of people complaining that it doesn't work. A lot of people just complaining about what the list is, because there's none for doing parts of the game. Excuse me. As normally, every milestone you hit on the progression list of a game, you get a trophy for it, or an achievement. You get, you beat the prologue, you beat chapter 1, that kind of stuff. And it's not to say that games should have those lists, and achievements and things like that, but the fact that this one doesn't is something that's really, tripped a lot of people up, because they expected it to. It only has 20 odd challenges for you to grab. And there is an in-game list of things I think they're called tags, for some bizarre reason. Which is a list of achievements that don't correlate to your trophies, and I just don't understand why they would put so much effort into this challenge stuff and these tags, or whatever the hell they're called, when they could have done the exact same thing for the trophies. And there are people who will play your game specifically for the trophies, which it seems like you're kind of ostracizing your market and limiting yourself by putting in things, because at this moment in time, a lot of the people playing, especially the people that are super trophy oriented or achievement oriented, they don't remember the times where there was games that didn't have those. They don't remember when people made their own challenge, when the game itself became challenge. They play for a different reason. So putting in a list of challenges and not giving them an incentive to do it, those people are going to just be like, why should I? Fuck that, I'll do something else, I'll work on this game. So to some communities that, are the smaller in the grand majority of things, that is not a great idea. To me, doesn't really bother me, because I'm not a trophy guy. I don't get the trophy stuff. But if this was on Xbox, and it was as buggy as it's been, I would probably be pissed. Because I like the achievements, and I would want to get them all, just to show my appreciation for what I believe to be a sublime and must-play game. But right here is a completely changing setting. We're combining both the rural aspects and the urban stuff. It's a really nice mix. The environment design, everything in this game is so goddamn good. I could talk for hours about the things that I appreciate, but I'm going to try not to, because I've got a video planned for something like that. But right here, I'm looking around, I'm doing as much salvaging as I can. There are 2 clickers. There's one in that shed to my left. There's one directly in front of me where I was peering over that metal barricade thing up there on those stairs, on that platform thing. So the clicker is in that wooden hut to my right, and I know he's there, because you don't need to go that way, but you can to grab some stuff. So first, I'm going to go in this building, because if you go in here, you can pick up some stuff. I don't think the loot is random at all. I think it's kind of predetermined. I think the only difference in the loot is the placement by difficulty. So, if you see something on normal, don't expect it to be there on hard, and vice versa. And don't judge your experience based off an earlier difficulty, because it's going to be so much different. So much more different than you can imagine. But what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be navigating this new area, which is one of the better areas of the game. Although they're all stellar, but this is one of those that I think really hits on that Walking Dead aspect of a lot of people who are going to play this game, because it's a street, it's like a suburban street. There's houses, there's cars everywhere. I wish you could search more of the cars. I think they've completely lost an opportunity for things to be opened, because I would have loved to search the bins, search the cars, even if there was nothing in them. Just a greater emphasis on the searching of things, because I love that stuff. I'm a big fan of just those details and those touches. And once again, just like Uncharted, anything that you can climb on or you can go towards is usually highlighted in a colour to catch your attention. This one here, case in point, is yellow. Yellow seems to be the guiding light of this game. And you'll notice I've got some equipment to make a Molotov if I need to. And I will be fashioning many Molotovs because the Molotovs and the trip bombs, I can't even get over how good they are. Like, you can lure a bunch of infected with a bottle to a spot, especially clickers. It works great on clickers because they're dumb. And then throw one Molotov and kill 3 or 4 guys. Sometimes the range on the Molotov splash will kill someone who's nowhere near it. It is really powerful. But at the same time, they are expensive to use, so you want to make them count. And I waste my fair share of Molotovs in this playthrough, let me tell you that. And it's not intentional, it's not like I went out of my way to do it. It's just sometimes, you know, shit hits the fan. And you have to react. But on my back I have a pipe that has scissors taped to it, which means it's going to now have the ability to instant kill infected. And this is another mechanic that I really enjoyed. But like a handful of those mechanics, I think it could have been elaborated more. Perhaps put more of an impetus on a melee path in the game. Because as it stands, melee is your last resort. Because you're putting yourself in a distance where you're in danger. Like, melee is one of those things that can really help and can sometimes be the best way to play, but at the same time it's not the best solution to every situation. And I'm not talking stealth kills here, I'm talking fighting. And now we've got this pipe with this upgrade on it. You're going to notice on the durability scale that there's an extra block at the bottom, and it's bigger than the little ones. The little ones is the durability of the item. The big block is how many like murder juice it has. That's the kind of thing that I would call it. And if it's got 1, it means you get 1 free kill. But after that, it goes back to just doing what the pipe does. Later on in the game, if you pick up the upgrade manuals, which I haven't found all of them, and I don't find all of them in this guide, I find enough to keep me going. You can have more than one of this ability, and if you get a weapon like an axe or a machete, they seem to kill immediately on their durability as a standard, which makes those weapons really useful. And like, if you find an axe, you're in for some fun times because they're so dangerous. It really makes you respect them. And it's because of this respect that I wish there was more direction with that path of play. Like, I would love to go through this game playing it like a Left 4 Dead 2 or playing it like Condemned. You know, I would love to not use the guns and just rely on taping together weapons and stuff. But it's just not realistic at all. It's not feasible because you don't find enough stuff, and the vanilla weapons are not strong enough. You will get mobbed and you will get killed. And it's a shame, but it's a design choice rather than a problem with the game, and all that is a preference that I would have liked. So that's completely personal. Objectively, I think the system works as it should to make the game as much of a struggle as it is. But as you can see, I need a shift for the door, and luckily enough I have the equipment to make it so that I can use it. And I would always recommend going in the shiv rooms, because usually you get a lot more back than what you put in, but on Survivor you get a lot less in them than you did in Hard. I'll say that much. In Hard, they were kind of like Neil Buchanan from Art Attack. You could have made a fucking picture in the snow. And you'll see here I have enough to put some points into the abilities. I'm not going to be doing maximum health. I'm not going to be doing healing speed because I'm not going to be healing. It's pointless. So instead, I'm going to be putting points into weapon sway and crafting speed because I don't need the defensive shiv maneuver. The second shiv ability would be good, but once again, I'm not going to be using the shivs. And I kind of hope the shivs would have been better. Like, I was hoping that Joel was going to get a knife or a machete or a permanent weapon that enabled him to do quicker stealth kills. Because when you grab a guy, you can either choke them or you can shiv them. But it damages the shiv usually. And without the abilities to make them last longer, it's just not a viable strategy. And I don't know if it's noisier too. I think it's probably noisier. So it's one of those things where it's not worth doing sometimes over the quick choke, and the choke is anything but quick. I don't know why I said that. It's intentionally slow, so that both it's nerve-wracking when you do it and it gives the impression of being extremely violent, which it is. Right here is a puzzle. You just want to be, when she shifts, you want to pick up the plank, you want to prop it against the wall before you climb up, so you can then use the plank to get to the next area. You're going to be moving up to an NPC soon called Bill, because this is his town. And Bill is pretty cool. He's one of the more interesting characters in the game, because he's kind of crazy, he's kind of interesting. And spoiler alert, he doesn't die. Which, a lot of people in this game are going to die, folks. It's just the way the future is, you know. This world is kind of screwed. And Bill is one of the people that you would expect them to throw away, and they don't. And I liked that, because there are a lot of situations they could have put you in to get rid of good old Bill. But he manages to get through. And I did think he was going to come back later on in the game, but he doesn't. This is the bow. This is the power of the bow. When the enemy doesn't know you're there, you will obliterate them. But you'll notice my arrow's intact from that. That is rare. The arrows will sometimes break on impact, and there's no way to control it. So if you can use the bow effectively, and you're lethal with it, and you get lucky with the arrow breaking percentage, you could have a very easy journey through a lot of this game. But I will guarantee you that you won't, because it's just not designed that way. Like, as soon as I got the bow, I had my weapon of choice. I had a silent killer. I thought I was going to be set, because I'd put an arrow in a person and I'd pick it out. And the first guy I shot with the arrow broke, and I realised, Naughty Dogs, you evil geniuses. Because that's exactly what it would have done. It would have diminutized a lot of the struggle. It would have trivialized a lot of the encounters, because if you can aim, you can kill. That's the main tenets of a bow. And on these trip mines here, I don't think there's a way of disarming them. If there were, you would have so many, because they're so good, and I would disarm all of them because I love them. They're hilarious. They're essentially a box of explosives with a bunch of scissors in them. So they're pretty nasty tools. But to get past, just throw a bottle or a brick to set them off, and then you can move on. Just be careful, because some of them are better hid than others, and I have no doubt that if you trip that, it'll probably kill you. In fact, it should kill you. It should kill you on every difficulty, because what's the point in having traps if the traps don't kill you? And speaking of traps, I thought traps would have played a bigger role in the game. I thought there would have been a lot more environmental hazards. And it's interesting that they chose not to go that direction, as we get caught in a trap right here. Because what it reminds me of is Fallout, when you were moving through some houses and some areas. They had shotguns rigged up to doors and things rigged in places, grenades and all sorts of stuff. And it added an element of surprise and fear to exploring. And this game never really dabbles too deep into that. I don't think that was their intention with it. But there is it every so often. There's a handful of things that'll set off and trip. It's definitely something to look into when they make another game that is survival orientated. But this is the Dead Space 2 moment. Only this is much less gamey. So it's more cinematic than anything. I think you have unlimited ammo. I don't think your ammo here counts towards your ammo that you actually have. I could be wrong, guys. Regardless, I would say make your shots count, because it takes 2 shots to take them out, 1 shot to headshot them and kill them. And on this first round, they're going to be attacking you. So you want to, do whatever you can to stop them. I don't think it really matters so much, because after this situation, I believe your life gets completely healed. I could be wrong, though. I have been wrong in the past. So I think what happens here is the counterbalance works. Ellie's on the floor, and now you have to protect her. So this works in the same way. And one thing that I don't think can happen is I don't think you can shoot Ellie, which would have made this much harder if you could. Because if you could kill her, now that would be difficult, because there's going to be infected trying to grab her. And they're not gentle, so it can be really difficult shooting them off her. But be as accurate as you can. Take them out. And then after you've killed enough, because you see right now, I've fired more than 8 rounds. Like, I have to have unlimited ammo in this sequence, because this is just insane. Like, I've never shot a gun this many times. But once everything's dead, you're going to fall down. And then you're going to get saved by the stranger who owns this town. So bash the square button, like an international track and field champion. And there we go. Here comes Bill. And now you want to run. Ignore everything, just run. You can stay and fight, but it's not advisable at all. So Bill's shooting at people, doing his job. You can hear the clickers clicking, we're just moving. At this point, all you want to do is follow all the scripting, get to the safe houses, and just alleviate all the threat of taking unnecessary damage. Like this, just don't even mess with it. Although they're going to follow you in, or I think some infected attack you in this room. So there's a trip marker. Marker, said that in a really Romash accent for some reason. A trip marker, sorry. And then the clicker to my left, and just a standard runner. So the runner comes at me, put a shot in him, finish him off. That was a waste of a bullet. I completely forgot that I had the insta-kill there. There's another runner, finish him with the pipe. I'll hit him a few times and get away from the clicker, because you never know where the clicker is. A good combo to take enemies out, if you don't mind using some ammo, is a bullet to hit them and stun them, and then a melee item to finish them off, because usually the combination of the two is enough to kill them. It works both ways too. You can smack them with the pipe, stun them, knock them back, and then shoot them quickly. Like it's not rocket science, folks. You've probably already figured that out, but it can save you in a bind. The melee stuff, there must be a timing to it. Like sometimes you feel like you get robbed. You do. It feels like it should work in a way, and it's just kind of screwing you. So leave some comments how you feel about the melee stuff. If you think there's a certain rhythm to it, there's a certain timing based, or is it just rolling a dice like it seems to be for the most. Thanks for watching anyhow, and you take care now.